Nina. So I've been trying to figure out best ways to help you with your packets, and I've been looking at the packets that are coming. So I just want to make sure this works. So to this week, this is our trial. So this is this week's packet, the packet of the 413 through 424. Um, this are the vocabulary words that come in the packet. So this is just from our practice book. So many of you are familiar with how we used to do this. Remember, usually we used to do this in class, but here's something I want to keep in mind. These packets are not just to do work. You know what I'm saying? I want you to take these packets and challenge yourself with these vocabulary words. And we always talked about vocabulary words, how that's a way of enhancing your own vocabulary, whether it's speaking, whether it's writing. It'll make you understand words when you are reading. So it's not just doing the packets and saying, okay, I'm done. It's okay, but do you really know how to use all these words right here in this packet? Do you understand what skirm mean, directing, tinkering? Okay, so just like we would in class, I have two windows open, so when you do these packets, you usually have the paperwork, but for this purpose, I have the packets online here. So what I would do, what I would suggest is if you really don't know a word, and let's talk about the word gleaming. Oops, just the word gleaming. Okay, I guess this highlights the whole thing. If I'm just looking at this word gleaming here, I would go into on my web or on my iPad if I have the app and just go use dictionary.com. Now this is the same one we used in class. So when I write gleaming and I look that up, it tells me how to say it.
Gleam.
Well, you have the ing, so what part of speech is it? It can be known as a noun. So if it's a noun, it means a flash of beam light, like the gleam of the lantern in the dark. Okay? It's a thing, right? But something can be gleaming because I know it ends in ing as well. And when something ends in ing, it makes it a verb. Hopefully you said that. So here in the packet it's being used as a verb. So that to me means I have to look at the verb part of my dictionary, what they give me, and it either means to send forth a gleam or gleams, or to appear suddenly, clearly like a I don't know, clearly like a flash of light. Okay. Now let's just pretend I don't understand any of this. So again, which one are we going to use? Noun or verb? Verb, because it ends in ing. Um, but let's say I don't understand the definitions of the verbs. So I'm going to come up here, and right here where it says definition, remember there's a synonym button. So synonyms are words that help me understand the meaning of it, because they're going to mean the same. So here we have bright, polished, shiny, sleek, reflecting, smooth, brilliant. And then we come back to the verb. So gleaming, something to do with light. So now I would go into my packet here, and I'm going to read all of these and see which one would more likely be it. Okay, so here's shining and glowing. Well, of all of them, that has to do with light, so I'm just going to put it there for now. So if I put gleaming, sorry, this is a bit too small, but I'm just trying to make it work for this. And then I would just put it there, gleaming, right? And then I can, I don't know why it doesn't work here. There, I can cross it out. But another thing you can do is you can assess yourself in how many of these words do you really know. Okay, for example, decade. I kind of know decade by oops, sorry, I didn't mean. I can make a check mark here, like I know that one. I know engineering. And by knowing them, it's not, I've heard it before. Knowing them, I really want you to be honest with yourself. Do you know how to use it in a sentence? Do you know how to use it in your daily language? Can you use technology in your daily language? Okay. And I knew what gleaming was. So let's pretend I don't know what tinkering, directing, skirmed, and scouted. So now at least these four, I can try to come and see them on my packet. And now I should know at least four of these. Okay. But again, if I need extra support, I can always use dictionary.com. Or if you actually have an actual dictionary book at home, you can also use that. It's Okay, so that would be with vocabulary. Now let's move on to this graphic organizer. Now this graphic organizer says right here that you're going to be using point of view. Okay, now point of view, remember when we talked about this, is we need to be specific on whose point of view are we trying to guess. And a point of view is just the way someone thinks about something. But you have to really read the directions to understand what exactly they're asking you to do. So it says, read the selection, complete the point of view graphic organizer. So you put your details here. And details, remember, they're just your text evidence. And then because of this text evidence, what do you think, right? And this graphic organizer goes with this story. Okay, so it's Leonardo's Mechanical Knight. So you would read, and it says, always read the instructions. Don't say, oh, what should I do on this page, when your instructions are here. It says, read the passage, use the make prediction strategies to help you make predictions about what will happen next. Okay, so I'm reading, and as I'm reading, I'm also trying to use prediction as to what will happen next, right? So, as you're reading, though, I also want you to make sure you're annotating. Remember, make sure you kind of separate your paragraphs, um, just like we would do in class, and number them if you want. And I know it's a little bit harder here just because you have this row of numbers right here. Now, I will explain what this means in a minute. But also make sure you understand, if you don't understand a word, like for example mechanical, maybe I don't understand mechanical, so I'm going to circle mechanical, and that's something I'm going to look up later. Or suit of armor, maybe I like that, so I make a little note here. Let's see, maybe it just drew my attention, so maybe I say, I wonder how they used to wear their suits. So, those are just your little texts that you would put in the side, just like we would do in class. Let me actually change color so you can kind of just see my annotations. Okay, and that's how I would attack this. So here's your other part of the question, your story, and then you have questions that go along with it, right? Now this is where point of view comes back into play. So reread the first paragraph. What pronouns are used to refer to Leonardo? So pronouns here, we should have our notes on what pronouns are. I don't know why this doesn't. Oh, maybe because I have to pick the color. There we go. Oh no. The pronouns, as far as how do they refer to Leonardo? Is it him, her, she, it, them, us, we? Those are your pronouns. And remember, pronouns play a part in here because you want to know also the point of view of the narrator. Who's talking? Is it first person? Is it second person? Is it third person? And you really can't tell that unless you really understand the pronouns. And you have notes on that. It's the notes with the owl. That should be in your notebook. So if you need to refer back to that. And then it says, reread paragraph 7. How is Leonardo feeling and why? So this is where text evidence comes, because sometimes the author's not going to tell you, oh, Leonardo feels sad. You have to make those inferences with what the text says. So go reread that and see how he feels. And then this one, what kind of narrator tells the story? Is the narrator part of the story? Okay, so again, this question is funny What kind of narrator tells the story? Basically, it's asking you again of the voice. Is it first person? Is it second person? Is he part of the story? Is he not part of the story? And that depends on whether it's first person, second person, third person. Um, and again, it goes back to question number one: what type of pronouns are there in the story? Okay. So, what is the narrator's point of view about machines? Cite evidence from the text. So, number 4 is a good one to use with the graphic organizer. So, when you are reading and you see details about when he's talking about machines, cite those on that graphic organizer over here. Oops, right here. I would put whatever you read about him liking or not liking, or whatever he thought about machines right there, and then you draw your conclusion here, and that's your point. That's basically number 4. What is the narrator's point of view about machines? Well, because you cited the evidence from the text, you can justify your answer. I think the narrator or the narrator's point of view about machine is this. And because in the text it said this, and then you get your text evidence, okay? Or in paragraph 4 it states this. So again, this is pure review. What is new is just the new story, okay? And let me see. I think that's it. And then you have this in genre, literal element. And let me give you a secret about this one. This one has to do a lot with dialogue. So, in the actual punctuation that dialogue uses. Okay. The genre here, they're talking about historical fiction. So, remember fiction, fake, meaning it's a story, but historical fiction means they're going to use actual facts that happen in history to create this story. Okay, so you have to read this to answer this, and please try to answer in complete sentences. Remember, this is again not just I finished my packet. It's you want to make sure you are doing the best you can with what you have. If we have to keep practicing speaking in complete sentences, writing in complete sentences, keep practicing that. Don't lose that habit, because it's something you always will have to do. Synonyms, we know what synonyms are. So here you have to read each passage below, underline the synonym that helps you figure out the meaning of each word in bold, then circle the letter that best definition for each word, then circle the letter of the best definition of each word. See, that's why it's important to read instructions carefully. So Leonardo yelled a voice. He jumped in surprise and shock. Again, if we don't know these, then hello, I would go here again. Okay, maybe if I put in the word shock, it'll give me one of these. Maybe. Okay, what are my choices? Surprise, bump, and voice. Well, let me see. Oh, I'm on gleaming. Oh, oops. Sorry. Miss Marino's learning as well. But I want the synonym of shock. So, oh, I saw a bump there. It said, oh, right here. Bump, collapse. Okay, I can't scroll for some reason. I think it's just because it's small, so let me make it big. There we go. So we have awe, bump, collapse, confusion, consternation, disturbance, earthquake, excitement, impact, injury, jolt, scare, trauma. Okay, so now I go back here. Leonardo, yelled a voice. He jumped in surprise and shock. So it can't be surprise because you wouldn't say he jumped in surprise and surprise. Or he jumped in surprise and voice. He jumped in surprise and bumped? Maybe. So that's the one I would probably make more sense. Plus I have this that helped me back that up. Okay. This is spelling, so obviously we don't have spelling packets. But always make sure when it's talking about words with consonants and syllables, these are all your spelling rules. So make sure you really understand this part and what they're telling you. These underlined spellings stand for the oo sound found in spoon. So the double O makes that oo sound. Soon, blue, rude, clue, fruit. Okay, but you also have another U that makes that sound as well, like in pupil, June, and few. Look at this, few has an EW. Okay, so they're just showing you how words with these U's can, what sound they're making. Okay, and then on the bottom, you're practicing with words that have an LE at the end for its syllable. Okay, for example, in candle, gentle, normal. Again, make sure you read really good the boxes and annotate this. Highlight what you think is important. Okay, and the writing task is good to go through. Okay, we will have I will let you know what we would be doing with the other packets. Again, handwriting, I told you if you want to do this, awesome. You can also go into typing club. And that's all I'm going to explain for now. I'm not really going to go into the math or the science for this packet, but next week I will make sure to kind of go over that. Alright kids, well I hope this was a useful lesson.